my friends.
Greetings.
Sarah. Good to see all of you. When Geraldine spoke to me earlier in the week, she wanted me to talk about what's happening in your world with the escalating violence and the amount of pain that is surrounding this planet now. It's getting a little bit more difficult now for those of us on the other side to get through. And that's because this pain threshold that is here now is on the entire planet. There are acts of violence everywhere in the world, more than there have ever been in the last 100 years. If you go back many eons, of course, it was violent at many places, but there were fewer beings on the earth plane. You have a concentration now of many, many souls who've come forth on the earth plane to be here at this time, to live through the changing of the energies. There's a lot of dharma that can be acquired when one is on the earth plane and extends a helping hand to others when the energies are this strong. And so there are many, many, many people now, more than ever on this earth plane, who have come to go through this process. Many of them are very young souls, and they don't have all of the tools, let's say. Let me explain this better. I can see I'm going in a direction that's not going to be understood. The more lifetimes you have on the earth plane, the more dharma and karma you can acquire. But it's it's the same process with a soul as like when you are 5 and then you're 10, you've learned a lot in that time period. Well, older souls who've been here many, many times, tend to bring with them more of a memory of what they wish to create, and they've spent a lot of time working with guides on this side and learning energies, and so they've been more aware. When I talk about young souls and old souls, that only means you have more experience here in a world where it's much more difficult. When you're at home, there are levels, of course, and that's where your energy will take you, is to the different levels. But it's peaceful here. And there are always ways of looking at things, and this person sees it this way, this person sees it that way, but it's always done with harmony. Well, that is not the case here. And now these energies are so strong coming in, and I'm sure you all feel it. I'm sure there are times when you first get up that you feel jarred because of the way the energies are moving through the earth now. That will continue, and so we are trying diligently on this side to work with souls we feel are very confused, who are willing to step forward and harm others because they think it will give them power. The people that are doing these acts feel powerless, and then when they do something like this to hurt everyone, because it hurts everyone, then when they come home, it's different. When they come home and see, the soul itself sees what the personality has done, and the soul could not. You know, if there's not a connection between soul and personality, then who's running things? It's the ego, the personality, the false self. You need the ego to be on the earth plane. It's a necessity for you. But what you want, best case scenario, I've learned some new terms here. Best case scenario is when higher and lower work together to achieve the same goal. But with someone who doesn't have that, hasn't really connected with their own higher self. Now, many do and are not aware of it. You will hear people say, well, my gut feeling, well, that's the higher self, that's the intuition self. But many do not. And the ones who really step away from their own higher self and go into this personality pit and then into darkness, into despair, this is a way out for them, that they can achieve power over others. That's what's going on. I don't see it ending. We hear a lot of talk now about changes. You're going to have some, and you will have some in this state. There are other places in this country, though, where there would be no changes at all, because there are very powerful, important people who make a lot of money from these things, from these weapons, and so they're going to put their self forward to stop it. So there's not, I would like to tell you that we see this ending, but we don't. And what our recommendation is try not to put a wall up and not feel the pain. Every time something like this happens, it is hurtful to all mankind, and it's very difficult for us as well. It's easier for us to look at it and have love for everyone involved, but it's very painful for us as well. To see man hurt others for no reason, other than there's confusion, mental confusion. And that's not to say that these things that are happening, these people are what you would call mentally ill. That's not necessarily the case. What happens is they build these things up in your mind. What you think and believe is usually what outpictures in your life. And so in their minds, everything, that they haven't liked, this person did this, and it's cumulative until this is the answer to them. They will be powerful. They will be able to have this to say, look what I did. It's a very distressing events when these occur. And hopefully, there's a lot of talk now, and I think there will be some movement. And so we're hoping then that will start to shift it. What's happened in the past is when there have been people who may have seen something and thought, well, that's very strange. But there's an awareness now that if someone is saying these things, in the past everybody thought, well, yes, but that doesn't mean they would do. Well, now people are aware if someone says things, then maybe it should be looked at. Because there's been too many times in the past, there's been something that's been said, something that has been put out there, and no one has paid attention. Well, now people know to be careful of when they hear someone threatening to move on it, to do something, to speak to someone. And I see that happening more and more. So I think there's violence worldwide, but I'm hoping we will see a diminishing now of these events, and especially in the schools. That is a place right now that we see that the most possibility of something happened from a youngster, perhaps 14 or 15, who would want to hurt others because he's been hurt. So we're hoping now that people pay attention and start to end hands out with compassion, because I see this happening more and more. And the one thing I can say is it does seem to be unifying the communities who have to go through this, because when these things happen in a community, it's everyone's family in that community. So that is one positive thing that I can say about that. I also wanted to talk about the energies and the way things are moving, and about each person now taking the time to, your meditations are going to be more difficult because the energies are heavier and higher all around now. So, but to put more of a little concerted effort to be sending energy out. And that can be done in the form of a prayer, it can be done in a thought. And if in the mornings when you get up and it feels very heavy, if you would just stop, take a breath, and if you would be sending out healing energy to the entire world now. This needs to start happening because it's just getting more chaotic with the way the energies are coming in. It's triggering people, and it's turning people who would maybe not have liked someone else but not said anything into someone who, if they don't like the way a person looks, they say something. If someone is speaking another language, they say something. And a lot of this is based on the leader you have now who has said these things, so that makes it okay. But that will shift. I see it shifting already. But what needs to happen now in your political system is people need to stop attacking each other and strive for the common good. Do I think that's going to happen? Probably not, but it would be the best case scenario if everyone would start to work together. But at the moment, it's very competitive. You have many, many people who think they should be the leader, but they're attacking people on their own team. Well, that's not very productive. So they need to start looking at what's out there instead of just what they see in their life experience. You were told before that this person who is now your leader would be leaving. John gave you that based on what he saw in the energies. That was 2 years ago. And what has happened is there's been a shift in that energy. The people who, of his political party, who would have said to him, this has got to stop, this has got to stop, quit. So the ones in his party who were in political power have left. The ones that are there now enjoy the power they have, and they like this connection they have. They have some of the same thought processes as he does. So they are going to continue to support him. So I think that what was originally prophesized by John, I don't see that unfolding now, because there have been too many changes and there have been too many people in his party who would have been the ones who would have gone to him and said, this must stop, this must stop. And he would have reacted very childishly and said, well, I'll take my toys and go home. I don't see that happening right now. There's a possibility when it comes to the conventions that he may lose his temper and show another side to his own party, because they are looking at him as he's there. The ones who are still in, who like him, who think like him, he's sort of their savior, because he is talking what the common man wants. He doesn't use big words when he speaks, and that makes people feel comfortable. And so he's not an intellectual. That makes voters who think like him, who feel they're being put upon, agree with him. So it's in a great state of flux now. There's still that possibility, but anything can shift and change. Everyone was sure in the last election that he would not win, but everything shifted. He pulled in, he was able to speak to a group who were not liking the other person, so they got out and they voted. But what also needs to happen now is you have other governments that are influencing things. And for some reason, this man seems to like people he sees in positions of power, and that's not a really good thing for the democracy here. I still think, though, that this country will continue to move along. There will continue to be acts of great kindness and courage. You will see people stepping up to help others. Some of the things that have been happening have caused people who would not really pay too much attention to look and see what's going on and not be happy and step up. So you're going to see a wave happening. When these energies move in, it causes people to feel disconnected from where they are, from their bubble. And so they start to look and they're seeing some things they don't like. So it's shifting. There are going to be, there have been some things that have happened, some changes that have been made that are detrimental to the environment. Not a good thing, and it will move the shift even closer, because that time is coming. And we've talked about this for a long time, but you can feel the difference. You can see what's happening with Mother Earth. You can see the damage that has been done to her. And so it's continuing to move. And also what's happening too now with the way the damage that's being done and the pollution and things, that a lot of those rules that were in place to protect the planet now are being pushed aside. So that, which isn't really good, because that means it's going to cause this damage to start to speed up again. And so it's, as I said before, start learning how to clarify water around you. So when these things happen, you will know how to do that. You will be able to drink the water so it will be pure. And to learn now how to start to plant, and also learn more about different, what you call weeds. Some of those are very good. They can be used, some of them are edible, some of them can be used for medications. You're going to be moving away from this world of technology when that happens. And you will have to go back to old knowledge that people have known in the past. Now you can start pulling that to you yourself. Some of you have an innate idea of different things that would work, different growing things that would be good for perhaps a tea for a headache even. Start to learn these things because you're not going to be able to get them in a few years at your corner drugstore because there's going to be a lot of damage done. And some of these companies that produce these drugs, some of them are going to be destroyed. So the good things that they produce you won't be able to get either. So you'll need to be able to learn folk medicine, which I can imagine it's going to be very, very difficult. It's going to be a huge shifting from what you have right now with all this technology that you can push a button and talk to somebody way away, and that won't be there because a lot of these things that bring the signal will disappear. So, but the thing is too, when this happens, the air will be pure, you will be able to breathe, you won't have as many allergies, you will have more energy, it will be clear, the energies will be pure and powerful, and mankind then will start to work together. The new age is all about unity and community. One for all for one, not this rugged individualism like I can stand alone. Nobody stands alone. We're all connected. We're all part of the same energy. I'm connected to each one of you. You're connected to people you like and people you don't like. We're all part of that energy. That's why what one does impacts everyone. And I think when the new age energy comes in, it's going to be a rebirth on the planet where she will be able to heal, but there will be less people on the planet. It has almost gotten to the point now with all of the people on the planet, it's more difficult for her to maintain a balance. So, but when the shifting occurs and we're in the new age will be a time of great beauty. So I want to present it to you as something you will love to be in. It will be so freeing at that time. It will be a time of connection. It's not going to be instantaneous. All this happens and then everyone shifts, but there will be a clearing, and so you won't have this energy sitting on top of you like you have to work through now. I think I want to stop now and take some questions. If anybody would like to talk to me.
When this shift happens, Sarah, will there be a lot of people that are going home?
Yes.
And that's going to be devastating in itself. So how do we deal with that?
Well, you're going to have too much else to deal with.
Okay.
You're going to be absolutely putting things together so that you can, those of you, you will have to survive in community. You will not be able to be alone like you're alone now. You will have to be in community. Many will go home, but many will not. It's different parts of the world. The world map will be different. It will be different. The deserts, they will be flooded. Different parts will break off. It will be a different world, but you're not going to know about all of that that's happened because the communication will be down for a while. So you're not going to know
Where it is.
what happened here.
Oh, wow.
You're going to know what happens in front of you.
So is this going to be like in the next 10 years?
Yes.
So, okay, so we better
Yes.
start getting prepared.
Yes, it's time's hard for us, but I will tell you it's moving closer. So I know people have, it's been put off in the past by all of us when it was originally supposed to happen, because that was everyone agreeing that that was not going to be the best way when it was originally supposed to happen. And so it's happened in increments. You know, you've seen a lot of damage, tsunamis, volcanoes, parts of the earth breaking off. And so it's all been part of that. If it had happened the way it was originally thought, the way we originally had thought about it, it would have been massive at one time. But then all of us, and you were included, everyone was thinking that this would be too difficult for mankind to deal with. And so it's been put this way. And so you've been learning in increments how to deal with these different things that are occurring.
Yeah, what's interesting is I was on a trip, and people who believe that the end times are coming now, Jesus is coming back, but they see all these things happening as the end times, and that's how they describe it. But so it makes you wonder if there's a little truth in all that.
Well, he's not coming back.
Well, I knew that, but
But the way Jesus will come back is the Christ consciousness in each of you will be more active.
okay.
Because you will have to be. You will have to step forward. You will not be able to allow what somebody else thinks stop you in your movement. I think Sandy has a question.
I don't have a question that I can formulate.
Okay.
It's just hard for me to wrap my whole head around it actually happening.
Yeah, but it is. But then, when you see the different things that have happened, the parts of the world already that have been impacted, the weather is strange now too. It's not, you have records that go back 100 years that are being broken, and all the different weather things, that's all due to the damage that's been done.
And so what you're saying is that this is the only solution now?
Yes, it is, because the earth has to cleanse herself. She has been damaged beyond belief, and she can only hold the energy for so long. You know, if you look at a human body and let's say they get this disease and that disease and this disease, well, you might be able to fight this one and that one, but this one may take you down. And it's the same thing happening to her. And the protections that were put in place in different parts of the world, those are not being taken care of. So, you have species that are disappearing from the planet. It's been a very destructive 100 years or more. Very destructive to the earth.
So now you're talking to a group of all of us that are 50-ish or more, I'm guessing, sorry, I don't know. You're saying that all of us are gonna go through it, but we're all gonna see the eventuality of the beauty of it. So it sounds to me like the beauty of it's gonna come through faster than we think after the destruction. Because in my mind, I almost feel like that would be a really long time to begin to rebuild a community.
You will see a change in the way the energies feel on the earth when this new age energy is here, and it will impact everyone.
We'll feel that right away.
Oh yeah, because the energies feel heavy now. And at times it's hard to breathe. So you won't have that. You will have clear, and you will have, it's power for energy, but it's very, this new age energy, this Aquarian energy, this energy will impact you so that even more will you want, well, even people who you wouldn't expect to be someone who would want to connect and help, you will see that happening more. And there are those who will be very confused and very unhappy, and they will sort of go away and hide for a while to first get the energies, to be able to feel the energies. Their guides will, and here's another thing too, Sandy, you'll be able to connect with your guides much easier than you can now, because you won't have this to get through. So I know it's going to be a long-term process for the earth, for the mankind on the earth to really make all the changes. But this is a good beginning. When this is over, people have to work together. You don't have a choice. And so you can't be, now people are very detached from each other. And some people only connect with other people with, the mechanical things.
Cell phone?
Yeah. And so, and they have people that they talk to that they've never met, and they don't have connections. You don't have the kind of connections that that nourish the soul, that nourish people into a community of love. That's the goal here, is when the earth is cleansed, is for this new age energy will be, this Aquarian energy is an energy of community and love and opening up, and everyone supporting and connecting with each other, everyone bringing their gifts to the table and being permitted to bring their gifts to the table. Many are not allowed to do that now. They don't feel they have a right to be here. This is what the shifting will change, because people will work together. A lot of these old ideas are going to be shattered. Yes, are there going to be some people who are going to react violently? There will be some of that, yes. But some of the technology that they have used will not be there to aid them.
So how do we selfishly protect our kids to make sure they're where we want them to be to survive?
Yes, if they are living in, you're going to have some precursors to this, okay, in different parts of the country and world. And then you can talk to them about being in an area that is safe Usually, I would say you don't want to be on the coastline because those are going to go. And the Great Lakes are supposed to tip back toward Canada, not this way. So you want to be more to the center of the country if possible, but I would not be in places like Louisiana, California, Washington, those parts of Canada, all of that coastline will go. So you can gently maybe start talking to them about the things, even like it's an article I read, blah, 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 and talking about, and you can bring things up that are happening as far as the weather, as far as what's happening on the earth, the different things that are happening in different parts of this country. That's how you can do it. It will be up to them to use their own intuition, but you will find that more people will be moving back for, well, maybe families here, something's happened. You will see more of this happening now.
Yeah, we've had one conversation with our kids, and it wasn't anything new to them, but I think they didn't appreciate is probably a wrong thing to say, but they were a little surprised that it wasn't just their age group talking about things. Does that make sense? That they've talked amongst their own friends about all the changes in the earth and the ecology and all of that. They see the damage,
right,
and feel helpless because they want to make a change and they feel that they can't as a generation. And so they see the things that are coming and don't know what to do about it. So it's a challenging conversation to have because it does freak them out at some level, but I want them to also feel like they can still live a life of happiness. So, yeah.
And they will.
Well, I got one in Portland, so I hope she does. Hope she comes back in time. So.
Well, she'll get some ideas about things that are going on. Different things are going to be happening now that people will be making changes. You'll see that unfolding. In Florida, some of the hurricanes are going to be even more, and it's going to make some people think that they don't want to keep doing this anymore, that they're going to go elsewhere. So you'll see things like that happening with people where, like in California, things have gotten very, very, very expensive, and so different people now have decided to move because they can have more for the amount of money. So different things like that are happening, and this is a process. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but it's on the way, and so I think people have time to move out of where they are. They're going to start feeling, especially the ones that are more intuitive, they're going to start feeling that this is not feeling right, that it might be time to make a change of where they are living. Everyone has free choice, and people are watching things, and the younger ones are seeing what's happening, and different ones of that generation too have come up with different ideas about how things can work, how to work to get some of these things out of the ocean, some of that. So there are different, they have a name they call
millennials.
Yes. Those are, a lot of those are very old souls that have come forward to go through this process. And to be here to be bringing in the new age. Most of these youngsters, a lot of these younger ones now who have come to the earth plane, that's what they're here for. They're here to build a community. So, I have watched from here and seen some of these, they're young in age, but not young souls, who have come, and they're bringing ideas, and they're coming up with technologies to use energies wisely. And if you sort of pay attention, you'll see then they're coming up with a new way to do things, some new ideas about purifying the waters, different things like that. So there's time. It's not going to be instantaneous. It's a process, and people are saying things, and they will move according to that.
Is planet Earth the only planet in the whole galaxy that's had to do this kind of thing? Like the shift and all that, or is there other planets that have had to go through that too?
Yeah, no, many have. Mars has been through a process like this eons and eons ago, where it wasn't this kind of life, but there was life, and there was just damage done to it, and that's why there's not life on there now, but they're finding microscopic things that I don't know what they call it, but that there could have been life there before. Well, there was a form of life there before, but it was different, and it wasn't, the planet Mars was not really able to sustain it. So those energies moved off of that, and that planet can be revitalized, though, and probably will be eventually, but probably not while you're on this planet. You'll be able to see it when you're home.
Okay. That's cute.
What I would love to, after people are done with their questions, is I'd love to have you move us through a process that can help us to strengthen our connection with home, okay, with our own inner guide. So that I'd love to see some type of an exercise as part of this time that we're together, so that when people listen to this, they've also got a technique or a tool that they can take to support them in maintaining a connection with their internal guidance, with their intuition. Yes, the energies are getting more dense, and there will come a point in time, which you had mentioned to us, that you will not be available to us because it will be that dense. And I'm feeling it now. I wake up and it is just weirder than weird. And so it's like, okay, so I have to make that concerted effort to truly link, so I know that and to wrap myself in light, and my home and my neighborhood, just to wrap that in light and send it to the earth. But do you have any kind of a simple tool that you can share that we can either do together toward the end of our time that can become a vehicle for people to use to remember?
Okay.
Because it can be frightening. And it's like, why not, let's have tools now that in the midst we can start to practice, so that we can operate intuitively, we can operate and remember who we are, what this is about, and how we can move it forward more positively.
Let me take this to committee
Okay.
and get some different ideas. One idea will not necessarily work for everybody.
Right.
So the next time we meet, I will have something for you.
Okay.
And I might be able to connect with some of my friends and teachers, and we'll see what we think would be the best thing. because, you know, we always talk about meditation, and that's very important because you're connecting with your own higher self. But the way the energies are now, it's more difficult for people to meditate,
Right.
you know? And I think maybe I will take you, when we have all our questions asked and answered, I will take you through a short meditation if you would like that today.
Yeah.
Would you guys like that?
Yeah.
Everybody would like that? Or
Yeah.
not?
For me, it's
Okay.
like what Becky was talking about, something to feel lighter, because
Right.
in the midst of this enormous thing we're talking about, how I don't think it's a good idea for us to walk away feeling the heaviness of it.
Right.
We're still trying to live and be happy souls.
That's right. And the truth of the matter is, you can overcome everything and you can be happy in spite of everything because you are God. You're a part of me, so you have so much power. And
Except that we feel powerless over this.
I
So
know.
so that's where the heaviness comes in.
Right.
Where, yeah, so it's a dichotomy of ideas.
okay, but look at it this way. What things can happen, and it's just like with nature. You can be connected to Mother Earth as she's going through this process, and you can be a part of the healing nature of this, because this is all about healing the earth plane, healing mankind as well. So it's truthfully, even though it's very extreme, yes, it's very powerful, but it's for the healing energy, and you are a part of everything. So you are all healers on the earth plane. So let's this will be fun. Let's go into this meditation together. And I would like for you to sit tall in your seats. Close your eyes, please. Take a deep breath. Take another deep breath. And as you're breathing in, I want you to, in your mind's eye, to see an orb of light, a ball of light. And it's beautiful, it's blue. It's a beautiful blue, pale blue orb of light. This is the light of spiritual truth. And this is who you all are. You are, each of you, spiritual truth. You are perfection, and you are divine beings. Now, I want you to see this orb of light coming through. And it will go first to Sandy. And Sandy, this orb of light will sit right here in your head. And I want you to feel the presence, the power of it. And then when you move it, Kathy's next, isn't she? Yes. Kathy?
No, Carol.
Oh, who's here?
Carol.
Where's Kathy?
Kathy's to your right.
Oh, okay. So, oh, I got confused. Okay, but let's move this orb of light through each person then, and then on.
That's Carol, and then to Gary.
Okay. And then to the next person. Let's let this, I want you to hold it for a moment and then feel it move away. And we will take it through each person until it's all the way around the room. And as it touches each person, you will see it growing until it's gone all the way around, and in the center of the room, then it is huge. Now that we have touched in this light, this is connection with all of us. This light is about the spiritual truth of each of us, and that truth is love. That truth is joy. That truth is openness. Life is about living and being joyful. And you can be joyful in any circumstance. I know it doesn't seem possible, but it can happen to where you can see truth, you can see the beauty of each moment, of each energy that is near you. When you see a cloud in the sky, that energy there was created by all of you. God's energy is in everything on this earth, and it's everywhere, present everywhere. Every universe, every galaxy. And I will tell you too, when this shifting is over and you are through the difficult parts of learning and the community together, you will also have help from your brothers above and from those who are on other planets. So you won't have to do it alone. We will all be together. So to try and let that fear of what's coming to dissipate into the knowledge that there's greater and greater things. And every day that you are living is a day that you are creating, that you are contributing to the planet's life, to the life of all energies, because it's everywhere. So everyone that is on the earth plane is a part of the wholeness, and we want the community of all life. And it's a process, it's a learning, it's a growing, and it's an opening to truth. Okay, so I'm going to I'm going to take advisement of what the Becky wants me to check into, and I will come up with some plans the next time for people to use, to work on, to continue to remember the good. Okay? Mm-hmm. So is there another question before I go, or should I leave? No questions? Question.
Yes. With a lot of the interference that's occurring among countries, interfering, especially a lot interfering on social media to really spin hatred. There's a lot of interference from Russia that is really trying to spin divisiveness and hatred. Mm-hmm. Any recommendations from your vantage point on
well, actually, though, I think they won't be that successful this time because they really got caught last time. Mm-hmm. Even though the president said they didn't collude with them, they didn't. But the Russians got in and were really trying to interfere everywhere. But you have now people who are in jobs whose job it is to catch those things.
Right.
So there's more, it's, the ones who now are trying to catch the others are more sophisticated. They have come up with some good projects
Good.
and plans. So I don't think you'll see some of it though, because it's not just the Russians.
Right.
You know, it's other countries. And it's countries that you would think would be friendly, but they're all spying on each other. So, but I don't think it will have, I don't see it having that much of an impact this time.
Okay.
Anything else? Well, I hope now, I know I gave you some things you would rather not hear, but you needed to. But I hope now that you have stepped away from heavy and go into light and to pull the knowledge of your power back to you. So there's much love for all of you on this side, and we are sending healing energies. It's just, it takes longer to get through all of this energy now. So you won't see as many instantaneous healings now on the earth plane as you have in the past because of that. But we're still here, we're still connecting with you, and we're proud of you for walking on the earth plane and doing what you came to do. It's been good. So I will leave you now, knowing you're walking a path of light, that you are light, and I am happy to have been with you. So I'm saying goodbye.
Thank you.